They told you to stay humble, to keep your head down, to be realistic. But deep down, there's always been a voice inside you screaming, you were made for more. And maybe you've silenced that voice, buried it under years of doubt, hesitation, and compromise, but it's still there, that echo in your soul, a whisper that grows louder every time you're alone with your thoughts. The truth is, potential doesn't scream. It doesn't bang on your door. It waits silently for you to claim it. Unfulfilled potential is not a curse. It's a contract, a sacred agreement between the version of you that was and the version of you that could be. And every day you delay, every hour you drift, every moment you play small, you're breaking that contract. You were not born to be average. You were not placed on this earth to blend in, to follow scripts, or to drown in distractions. You were born with a spark, the same spark that burned in Lincoln when he stood alone in failure, the same spark that flickered in Edison through 10,000 failed experiments, the same spark that exploded in Carnegie when he decided that poverty was not his final destination. You have it too. But it is buried beneath excuses, beneath comfort, beneath the safe, silent lies you've told yourself for years. And the greatest lie? That your time hasn't come yet. That maybe next month, next year, after this job, after this breakup, after this degree, after this burnout. The truth is, your time came the moment you realized you were meant for more. And every day since has been a test of whether you'd honor it. Potential doesn't wait. It expires, not all at once, but in quiet, invisible moments, like water leaking through cracks. One compromise here, one skipped opportunity there, until one day you look in the mirror and ask, what happened to the fire I used to feel? It didn't die. You just stopped feeding it. You see, belief isn't a feeling, it's a decision to trust something you cannot see yet. It's the decision that Ford made when they laughed at his horseless carriage. It's the decision that Disney made when they told him he lacked imagination. It's the decision that every great human being made before they had the proof, because they knew they were the proof. You are the proof, but only if you decide to live like it, because this world is not kind to those who drift. It rewards the disciplined, the focused, the ones who live with intention and intensity. Potential doesn't come to the lucky. It comes to the relentless. And maybe you've been waiting for a sign, for clarity, for someone to choose you. Let me make it clear. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to unlock your greatness, because greatness isn't unlocked. It's demanded. It's built. It's earned. Right now, the gap between who you are and who you could be is discipline. It's not talent, not luck, not privilege, just raw, ruthless consistency in the face of doubt, fear, and discomfort. Your potential doesn't live in your dreams. It lives in your habits. And if you want to fulfill what you were meant to be, you have to die to the version of you that settles. You must bury your distractions, starve your excuses, and confront your patterns, because patterns produce potential. Or they kill it. Ask yourself, what do you do with your first hour each morning? Who do you give your energy to? What thoughts do you let take root in your mind? What choices are you normalizing? Every answer reveals a version of your future. Let me be blunt. If your days are ruled by dopamine, comfort, and scrolling, you are robbing your future. You are stealing from the person you could become. You are cashing in your greatness for instant gratification, and that is the real tragedy. Not failure, wasted power, because most people don't live life. They tolerate it. They shrink to fit expectations. They numb themselves with distractions, and then they call it normal. But you were not built to be normal. You were built for a mission, a reason, a purpose that cannot be fulfilled by anyone else. And you know it. You've felt it in the quiet moments, the nights you couldn't sleep, the mornings that felt heavy, the jobs that drained you, the relationships that didn't feel aligned. You thought something was wrong with you. But it wasn't depression. It wasn't confusion. It was potential begging to be fulfilled. It was your future self whispering, I am waiting, but not forever. Every genius, every visionary, every icon of success, they didn't have more potential than you. They had more conviction. They were willing to go to war with their limitations. They were willing to be misunderstood, to be obsessed, to sacrifice comfort for legacy, to trade easy choices choices for eternal echoes, and you have that same power. But it requires war, a war with laziness, with fear, with your old identity. You don't need more motivation, you need a decision. The kind of decision that cuts off return, the kind of decision that makes comfort irrelevant, that makes failure just part of the process, that makes purpose the only currency that matters, because that's what fulfilling your potential really is. It's not some magical moment, it's not a book, it's not a breakthrough, it's a decision repeated daily, to show up, to dig deeper, to stop waiting for permission, to stop waiting to feel ready, and to start acting like you're chosen, because you are. Chosen doesn't mean easy. Chosen means responsible. It means there's something in this world that won't exist unless you build it. A message that won't be heard unless you speak it. A life that won't be lived unless you step into it, fully, unapologetically, and without delay. That's the weight of potential. It's not just about you. It's about what your transformation unlocks for everyone connected to you. Your family, your bloodline, your future children, your team, your followers, the people you haven't even met yet, who are praying for someone like you to rise. And here's the tragedy. Most people never meet the strongest version of themselves. They never meet the version that keeps promises, that follows through, that stands tall in storms, that becomes a weapon in the hands of purpose. Why? Because they never slow down long enough to hear the voice of vision. They drown it in noise. They fear its demands. They choose entertainment over evolution. And in doing so, they become prisoners of comfort. But clarity comes at a cost. It will require you to stop being busy and start being brutally honest. What do you actually want? Not what your parents wanted for you, not what society rewards, not what you think is safe, but what sets your soul on fire. That's the compass. Most people are chasing goals they don't even want, working jobs they hate, to buy things they don't need, to impress people they don't respect. And then they wonder why life feels empty, why success tastes bland, why each year feels like a repetition of the last. Because clarity without authenticity is still a cage. You weren't made for a checklist. You were made for a mission. And missions are not always convenient. They won't always make sense. They won't always feel good, but they'll make you come alive. And that aliveness, that's the truth. That's the signal you're walking in alignment with your real potential. You see, vision is not just seeing the future, it's refusing to betray it. It's waking up and saying, I don't care what happened yesterday. I don't care what the odds are. I don't care how long it takes. This is the life I'm building. That's how empires are born. Not in boardrooms, not on vision boards, but in the brutal, silent hours of commitment when no one is watching. Let me be clear, your potential is not some fluffy concept. It's not a feel-good poster or a morning quote. It's a demand for war. It will test your patience. It will stretch your beliefs. It will pull every weakness to the surface so you can finally choose to eliminate them. This is why success isn't for everyone, because not everyone is willing to die to who they've been. But if you are willing to look at your own mediocrity and say, never again, if you are willing to bleed for progress, to be laughed at, doubted, and ignored, and still keep going, then you will meet a version of yourself so powerful you will barely recognize them. The voice becomes sharper. The eyes become clearer. The energy becomes magnetic. You walk differently. You speak differently. You no longer chase, you attract. Not because of tricks, but because of truth. The truth that you're living in alignment with who you were designed to be. And when that happens, the world bends. People notice. Doors open, opportunities appear, not because the universe suddenly decided to favor you, but because you finally started favoring yourself. That's what belief really is, not some emotional high. It's self-respect. It's showing the world, I take myself seriously, and so you should too. But belief without action is fantasy, and action without intention is wasted energy. Your moves must match your mission. Every hour, every choice, every relationship, every habit. Ask yourself, does this bring me closer to who I'm becoming or pull me back into who I used to be? Because every day you are voting with your attention, with your time, with your words, with your discipline or lack of it. And potential doesn't respond to desire. It responds to demands. The demands you place on yourself. You will be tested. This is not a fairy tale. This is not a straight line. The path to fulfilling your potential is a battlefield, not once, not for a season, but every single day. And the enemy, it's not out there. It's not the doubters. It's not the critics. It's you. The version of you that wants to press snooze. The version that says just this once. The version that craves validation more than vision. The version that hides behind fear, masks it with logic, and calls it being realistic. But realistic is often just a word for resigned, a word we use to make peace with the prison we built. And if you don't confront that version of you, it will win. It will bury your potential under a mountain of stories and timelines and almost. You want the truth? There is no easy season. There is no perfect time. There is no permission slip coming in the mail. There is only you. And the fire you are either feeding or letting die. This is why resilience is not optional, because life will hit hard, unfairly, randomly, without warning. You will lose people. You will face betrayal. You will question your worth, your path, your purpose, and in those moments, your potential will whisper, "Stand back up." Not because it's easy, but because the fire is still alive. Because failure is not the opposite of potential. It is the furnace that forges it. Look at every great name in history. Lincoln lost election after election. Edison failed over 10,000 times. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Disney was fired for lack of imagination. And yet they rose. Not because they were lucky. Not because they were born with it. Because they were unwilling to be average. They didn't use failure as a mirror. They used it as a map. They saw the pain, the rejection, the setbacks, not as stop signs, but as signals. Signals that they were becoming. You see, the mistake isn't falling. The mistake is interpreting that fall as a final chapter. But resilience rewrites the story. It says, this isn't where I end, this is where I rise. So let me ask you, can you keep showing up when nothing around you reflects your effort yet? Can you keep believing when the world gives you no proof? Can you stay consistent when the only applause is silence? Because that is the sacred ground where transformation takes root, not in the spotlight, not on stage, but in the shadows, when it's just you, your vision, and a choice to adapt or retreat. Because adaptability is the superpower of every fulfilled destiny. Your path will never be perfect, but your ability to adjust, to evolve, to pivot without quitting, that is what turns potential into power. You must become fluid like water, but grounded like stone. You must learn to bend without breaking, to shift without surrendering your purpose. Most people quit, not because they're weak, but because they expect the journey to look like the fantasy in their heads. When reality hits, they fold, not realizing the detours are the design. The resistance is the requirement. The more it stretches you, the more it shapes you. And if you're willing to let go of the how and stay committed to the why, you will become unstoppable. So when life gets heavy, when the storm clouds roll in, when nothing seems to be working, don't run. Stand still and listen. There is wisdom in the pressure, there is fire in the friction, there is purpose in the pain, because your potential is not trying to destroy you, it's trying to rebuild you. Every tear, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, they are not signs of failure, they are birth pangs of the version of you that is clawing to be born. But birth is messy, it is painful, it comes with screaming and blood and uncertainty. But on the other side is life, a life worth living, a self worth fighting for. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are in the middle of becoming. And the becoming never looks like the end result. It's slow. It's silent. It's filled with moments where the only thing holding you together is the vision you refuse to betray. So hold the line. Breathe deeper. Train harder. Refine your thoughts. Sharpen your circle. Tighten your rituals. Keep moving. Because even when you don't see it, the roots are growing. The character is forming. The foundation is being built. And one day, when the world sees the fruit, they'll call it overnight success. But you'll know the truth. You were just willing to do what they weren't. There comes a moment in every journey where you stop looking ahead and then you start looking within, not for motivation, not for affirmation, but for a decision to finally leave the waiting room of your life, to stop asking for permission, to stop waiting for signs, to stop watching others live the life you were born for. This is the moment, right here, right now. You are being asked to step across a line, to stop playing small for the comfort of others, to stop dimming your light so others feel secure in the dark, to stop settling for a paycheck when you were called to build purpose. You think you're chasing success, but the truth is you're chasing alignment. You're chasing the peace that only comes when your daily actions match your deepest identity. And make no mistake, and potential is not what you could do. Potential is what you were created to do. It is divine. It is sacred. It is not random that you feel that fire inside you. It is not an accident that the ordinary life doesn't satisfy you, because you were not born to blend in. You were born to break through, to lead, to shift the atmosphere when you walk into a room, to build something that lasts beyond your own heartbeat, to leave fingerprints on the future. But you cannot lead with clutter in your soul. You must get clear on your vision, clear on your values, clear on the cost, because there is a cost. Potential will cost you comfort. It will cost you sleep. It will cost you certain friendships. It will cost you short-term highs. It may even cost you the old version of yourself entirely. But in return, it gives you power. Not the kind that screams, not the kind that shows off, the kind that moves in silence and bends reality. That's the trade. And the question is, are you ready to trade your excuses for excellence, your comfort for clarity, your distractions for destiny? Because no one becomes legendary by accident. Every icon, every leader, every voice that shook the world, they bled for it. They suffered for it. They trained for it. They did the inner work. They confronted their darkness. They forgave themselves for the years they wasted. And then they built relentlessly, day by day, choice by choice. You don't build a legacy in public, you build it in private. When no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when no one believes, but you do. And if you can hold that belief, if you can protect that inner flame when the winds of life try to put it out, you will walk into rooms with power that cannot be explained, because you won't just be speaking from motivation, you'll be speaking from mastery. People will ask, how did you do it? And the answer won't be sexy. It won't be a hack. It won't be a shortcut. It'll be the same truth it's always been. I decided who I was, and I never broke that agreement. That's the real secret. Self-respect, the discipline to stay loyal to your potential, even when no one sees the results yet, even when your body's tired, even when your heart is heavy, even when your path feels invisible. You remain, you stay committed to the vision, because the vision is committed to you. This is the real war, not against others, not against the world, but against that part of you that still thinks small, that still doubts, that still waits. So today, I ask you, what would your life look like if you started living as if you were already chosen? What would shift if you stopped entertaining failure as a destination and started using it as fuel? Because this world does not need more followers. It does not need more noise. It does not need more people playing pretend. It needs you, fully awake, fully alive, fully locked in. It needs your intensity. It needs your clarity. It needs the sound of your footsteps when you finally stop running from yourself and start running toward your calling. You think you need more time, but you don't. You need more truth. The truth about who you are. The truth about what you've been avoiding. The truth about what you've been sent here to do. Because the longer you delay it, the louder the regret will echo later. And regret is the language of wasted potential. But redemption is always possible, and if you move now, there is still time, there is still breath, there is still fire in your bones, there is still a mountain with your name on it, so climb. Don't crawl, don't coast, don't wonder, climb. With blood in your mouth if you have to, with tears in your eyes if you must, but climb, because on the other side of that mountain isn't just success, isn't just money, isn't just recognition, it's freedom. The kind of freedom that can't be bought, the kind kind that comes only when you've earned it, only when you've faced yourself and refused to turn back. This is the truth about your unfulfilled potential. It was never outside you. It was always waiting inside for you to get honest, get serious, and go to war for the life that's already yours. So now the only question left is this: will you die with it still inside you, or will you rise and give the world what only you can?